exactly what each person does. Number one, as you see, he is holding up the rammer stick, but right now he's holding up the end, which is called the sponge end. That is a wool fleece. It looks like a Q-tip that should be thrown out. But that is the wool fleece that he would dip in the sponge bucket, which is loaded with water right in front of the muzzle. And he would insert that down the muzzle to make sure all the burning embers from the past round that was just spent is extinguished. Then spin it around. The other end is the ramming end. That's the end that rams the projectile down to the breech. Number two is holding up the worm. His job, after that round is fired, is to insert that corkscrew-looking thing down the muzzle of the gun and locate the bottom of that flannel sack in which the gunpowder was in to pull out the very bottom piece, because that is probably still smoldering, to pull that out so it's not a smoldering flannel sack left in there before number one extinguishes all the embers. Number three in his left hand, he has a thumb stall. It's a leather thumb stall that he places over top of the vent. He wants to prevent any oxygen being sucked through that vent hole when number one is in the process of sponging and also loading, because if there's still a possible ember left in that bore, it's not going to be a very good day for mother at home for the number one man. And he also functions as the person to put that priming wire down the vent to pierce the hole in that flannel sack. Number four is the trigger man. He makes this artillery piece go bang. In his left hand is called a lanyard. In his right hand is a friction primer. And that friction primer is a small brass tube that is filled with gunpowder. It's filled at the bottom with beeswax. And he inserts that into the vent. And he hooks the lanyard hook onto the loop of that pin. There's a pin at the top. And when he jerks the lanyard, it pulls that pin and makes like a striking spark that sets off the small gunpowder charge in the friction primer, sends a flame flash down the vent to ignite the main charge. Number 5 back here, he's the track star. That's why he's so skinny. He is running back and forth between the limber and he's advancing the round in that leather gunner's haversack. It's in leather to protect it as he's bringing it up front. I already mentioned the number 6 and 7 guy. I am the gunner. I'm the person that points the piece. Even though you saw me going up there and hanging what is called a pendulum hawse on the back of the barrel, and it looked like I was aiming. You don't aim a gun as far as an artillery piece, you point it. And I'd be watching where my rounds are hitting, and I would be making my calculations. Artillerists need to be skilled mathematicians in order to achieve and do a good job as artillerists. Now, for example, you heard me call out the 4-second fuse. That tells the 6 and 7 guy back there where to punch those fuses, and they would have a table of contents on the underside of that lid to help them out also. So we're going to go through this once more. Solid shot. 1,000 yards. Load. See everyone stepping in. They're doing their job. Number 3 steps in with that thumb stall, prevent oxygen. You see number 1, wet sponging. Number 5, advance the round. Number 2, inserts the round in the muzzle. Number 1, rams it home. Number 3, steps back, assist me in pointing. inserts the friction primer. Fire! Secure the piece. That's the process. Now, earlier, Gunny mentioned a type of round, which I'm going to talk about first, called canister round. I don't have an example of canister here, but a canister round would be very effective in a smoothbore. And what that canister round is, for those who were not here earlier, it is a tin can that is filled with iron or lead balls packed in sawdust. And when that is inserted down the muzzle, and when it's fired, that tin can disintegrates, and it's a giant shotgun effect coming out the muzzle. Does devastating effects. Matter of fact, for example, the Battle of Gettysburg, the 4th U.S. Artillery on the 3rd day of the battle during Pickett's charge. When those Confederates made it to the Emmitsburg Road, Lieutenant Cushing ordered double canisters. Those veterans that survived that devastation, they later said when their comrades were hit by that double canister, the only thing they saw was a pink haze. Completely destroyed the ranks. This right here is a bolt which can be fired from that rifle gun that I mentioned earlier, like the 3-inch ordnance rifle. Matter of fact, this could either be a bolt, which would be a solid shot, but this is actually set up as an exploding shell because this has an impact fuse on the very front. If this would be a solid bolt, this type of ammunition, along with those rifle guns, would make masonry fortifications obsolete because solid bolts being fired out of those rifle guns can pound through those masonry walls. Fort Fisher and a lot of coastal forts are a good example of adapting to modern technology, making earthen or sand forts. That earthen or sand fort can absorb these solid bolts. Then also, you can also compensate on the other side. You can lob mortars into the top, into the inside. This right here is called K-shot or spherical shot. This may look like a solid cannonball, but this is packed, this is hollow on the inside. It has about a 1/4-inch iron wall, and inside are possibly maybe some small iron balls, and in the very center is a lead core packed with gunpowder. And this is a Borman fuse on the top. That 4-second fuse, when I mentioned, it would be punched at the increments. It's like looking at the face of a watch. And 6 and 7 back there was punched at for the proper second. So it's just like a dial of a watch. So this is spherical shot at exploding rounds as well. That concludes the demonstration. I'm going to stick around here to answer any questions that you may have. And thank you for coming out and taking part in the 150th commemoration of Fort Fisher. Thanks a lot, everyone.